Hi guys, welcome to the session. You're with me, Arun Sharma. I hope I'm visible and audible to you. So let me just check that on my other device. And we are looking at a topic which is an important topic for a lot of people. Uh, how do you decide whether you want to do an MBA from abroad or an MBA from India? What are the key factors that you look at when you do that? And if you're looking at MBA from abroad, then what kind of countries? Of course, आजकल के context में this is a question which is not so. I think I'm live now. I guess you guys can see me. Hi Prajwal, welcome to the session, and welcome anybody else who's watching. So you guys can also keep asking me your doubts, because this topic that I've been given for today is slightly I mean, I personally believe in the current context, in the context of the pandemic, etc. It's slightly off the current topic, hot topic situation, because obviously now, I mean, the biggest problem with an international MBA is that even if you go to a top B school outside, the academics right now are mostly, at least for this year, the academics are mostly online. The complete courses are online. And when you talk about an MBA in India, there are two things when you're talking about an MBA in India versus an MBA abroad. There are two major things that you look at. One is the cost of the MBA. So in India, an MBA, depending on the B school level you get to, hi Dipesh, welcome to the session. The MBA in India will cost you some anywhere between 10 lakhs to 30 lakhs. Whereas when you're talking about an MBA abroad, it's going to be in the range of around, depending on, of course, on the kind of institute you go to. Just give me a second. Depending on the kind of institute you go to, an MBA abroad will typically be in the range of 50 lakhs to 1.5 crores. Now, I'm not saying that for a moment that this is not worth it, but if you want to spend that much money, you need to be very clear about the. I mean, this one way you can look at an MBA fee is like a cost, but the other way you look at it is as an investment. If you're looking at an MBA as an investment, if you're looking at an MBA MBA fees as an investment, then this investment might make sense, provided investment is not just perceived on the basis of how much you're putting in. It's also perceived on the basis of the return that it gives you. And that is my bigger problem here in the pandemic situation. The returns of an MBA are calculated on the basis of two things. One is the value that it has given you, and the second is uh, how much. I mean, what kind of delta it gave you, what kind of jump it gave you in your career. Hi Sneha, welcome to the session. So, what kind of jump it gave to your career in terms of your jump of salaries? So these are two things we look at. But before we go there, let me just do a little bit of the mandatory proportions of Unacademy. So the CAT Combat, the Unacademy Combat happens every Sunday between 12 to 2, between at 12 p.m. And on the Unacademy Combat, uh, you have scholarships, ranks 1 to 3 get a 1 year CAT plus subscription. So you do register for the Academy Combat. You've got 200 scholarships every week, and if you register on that, you can just scan the QR code given, and that QR code will give you access. But you'll have to put a code there. So code, you can use my promo code, which is Sharma Cat Live there. So this promo code will give you access to the CAT combat, which you can take. And then of course on the Unacademy app, you got the ask it out feature, which will be which is basically where you can go on the app, and whatever doubt you have got, you can put it on the on this put a picture, take a picture of that, or from your gallery you can choose a picture and crop it and upload it. And while sending it, before you send it, you have to select the section on which it belongs, to which the question belongs. And once you do that, you will get a return, or you will get a solution for that question from the app. But anyway, coming back to what I was saying, so the return is in terms of two things: the value of the education, the value add that it gives you, and the delta it gives you in a salary. So there is, I mean, anytime you're doing an MBA, the logic of doing an MBA always is that there is a starting package, and normally you do an MBA to have a jump of, at least, especially if you go to a top B school, the package jump would typically be in the range of 2x to 3x of your starting package. So the kind of stories you'll see of B schools is before you entered a B school, you are in the 3-4 lakh package per annum package level, and after you ended out of B school, you went to a 20 lakh package. This 5x 7x is also possible if your starting level is low. But I mean, in the context, I mean, even if you look at normal growth, normally you grow approximately at 10% per annum on the corporate sector. In the private sector, that's the growth of salaries anywhere, any organization you go to or any industry you go to. So normally 10% growth रहेगा, so typically 7 years में you will double your salary. And an MBA, what it does, it gives you a salary doubling within a year, 1 to 2 years, at least a salary doubling, right? Of course, if you go to a lower level institute, then the jump will be maybe only 50%. So you have stories like entered a B school at 4 lakhs and exited the B school at 7 lakhs per annum. So these kind of stories also there. Then obviously the value of the MBA and what you did is lower then, right? So you're going to measure delta. What is your package? What is your worth before and what is the worth afterwards? And you're also going to measure the value add it gave you, right? Now, one of the keys, I think if you are looking at the delta and recovering the investment that you are doing, one of the primary reasons why you would want to do an MBA abroad. Of course, there would be some of you for whom money will not matter because your parents or your family has the resources to pay for it, and all you're bothered about is the value add. But for most people, this is an important aspect, so I just wanted to dwell a little bit on this. Or यहाँ पे what I mean, when you're talking about going for about an MBA abroad, so it has to be followed by work abroad, because the loop of MBA abroad and work in India, this loop will put you in a financial spot. Reason is very simple to understand. The reason is you have paid your MBA fees in dollars, and you are going to recover that or earn it in rupees. So doing an MBA abroad and working in India, at least for the first few years, first 3 to 5 years till you pay back your loans, etc., is not a very lucrative option. It's not a very logical option also, right? So the one of the principles on which then you choose an MBA abroad is that if you are defined that you want to work abroad, right? if that is that is something that you have decided that you want to build your career abroad, at least for the first 5, 7, 10 years, then an MBA abroad comes into the picture. But if you are a work in India mode, you want to work inside the country, at least for the first few years, right? So then it is better to do that MBA in India. That's one consideration. Of course, there's a cross mobility function also. As I said, you can do an MBA abroad and work in India because of course ultimately you're an Indian, so nobody will stop you from working in India. But that's counterproductive. But of course, there's a possibility of an MBA in India and a work abroad, and this possibility can be direct from B schools. So some B schools will give you some international placements nowadays, and the other is through start to work in India and get transferred abroad. Or as you start working, you keep getting opportunities, you become a professional in the industry, and once you become the professional in the industry you are targeting, then that industry will give you the possibility of working abroad. So I can give you this feedback from my own batch of IIM Bangalore, that approximately 50-60% of the people who 50-60% of the people who were who were with me at IIM Bangalore, out of the batch of 200 odd, around 100 to 120 people ultimately had some kind of careers abroad, right? And the other 80 people who did not have a career abroad, it was more a personal choice of them. It was not that they didn't get opportunities or they didn't have opportunities, but it was a personal choice that they were doing pretty well in India, so there was no need to go abroad. But otherwise, this option of especially in a globalized world today, this route is always available to you, right? So you will have to look at your resources before you take that decision. The other factor is also that when people talk about MBA abroad to me, कि MBA abroad करना है कि MBA in India करना है, तो मेरा फर्स्ट रिएक्शन जो उसका रहता है, excuse me, the first reaction I have to that about MBA abroad versus MBA in India, the first reaction I have to that is, I mean, when you say MBA abroad, let's say a person from Africa tells you that I want to do an MBA from India, I want to do an MBA abroad, and I want to do an MBA from India. Now, being in India, you know the scene of MBA colleges, where the spectrum of MBA colleges, from the top colleges to the middle colleges to the bottom colleges, that spectrum is there. So an MBA in India, for the sake of an MBA in India, does not work if you are entering a bottom college. So just like that, there's a hierarchy of colleges abroad. There's a hierarchy of colleges abroad. And if you are talking about an MBA abroad, you have to typically target this. And an MBA abroad, of course, the decision of an MBA outside India is built on the GMAT as the entrance exam. An MBA in India is built on the CAT. People say that GMAT is easy. It is not. Don't be under that misconception. GMAT, if you want to take your score up to 650, scoring 650 is very easy. 600, 650 is very easy. But if you want to take your score above 700, then GMAT is difficult, because it will ask you to solve very, very critical questions. And one of the other problems with GMAT is that, unlike CAT where you can skip questions, GMAT where you don't have a skipping question option. So if a question comes on your screen, you will either answer it right or wrong. You can't skip the question. You have to solve it. And based on your solving of the question, the next question either goes up in difficulty or comes down in difficulty. So it's called an adaptive test. So the entrance to a GMAT abroad, of course, MBA abroad is of course GMAT. GMAT is also now accepted by a lot of Indian B schools. So if you are looking at an MBA in India, you are looking at GMAT plus CAT as two, and of course the other B school, other exams like XAT and IFT. These three exams are must take when you're talking about MBA in India. Right, so that's the second point. And then अगर तुम ये decided हो कि तुमको ठीक है, your focus is on an MBA abroad, then it has to be a top college. और उसमें एक problem current है, when we talk about value add, even if you get to a Harvard or a Stanford kind of college, this amount that you're paying for that college, the if you're going to the absolute top colleges, the money will be top drawer. It will not be 20, 10 lakhs, or it will not be the lower end of the spectrum. The investment would be in the range of 1.5 crores plus. But the problem is that you will be studying, most of these campuses are right now running their courses online. So online ही अगर MBA करना है तो why should you spend 1.5 crore? You are willing to spend 1.5 crores. You're willing to spend around $2 lakh for an MBA abroad because you want to go to the top B schools there, and you want that campus experience, that immersive experience. You want the contacts and because ultimately one more thing that will happen is when you talk about MBA abroad, again the next part of it is which country, where do you go, which geographical location. So that is another decision that you take, and broadly those decisions are taken on the basis of US, Canada, typical popular destinations, US, Canada, Europe, Australia, New Zealand kind of countries, or you are talking about Southeast Asia. These are the 4-5 Southeast Asia and Mid Asia. So these are the kind of geographical locations you are targeting. So when you take that decision of MBA abroad, if you do take that decision of MBA abroad, that decision has to be backed up by the decision of which location, and this locational decision again is built on one, of course, is where you're getting admission. Yeah, I'm coming to that. Exactly, Shisha, it does. That is what I was trying to say. So one is which location, and that location decision will be based on what geographical area do you want to work in, because typically what will happen is a Europe B school will give you more opportunities inside Europe than in US. A US B school will give you more opportunities in US than in Europe. An Australian B school will give you more opportunities inside Australia than in Europe, right? So this is something that you need to understand very clearly. That and you need to do a little bit of research. It can't be a fancy Canada नाम अच्छा लगता है तो Canada चले जाते हैं. So Shrisha's question, where she's asking me, does Indian MBA open the doors to work abroad after certain years of experience? Exactly, it does, and that's what I was saying. Around 60%. I mean, what will happen in your career, essentially, as you build your career, what will happen in your career is that you will first define an industry in which you're working. Right? Okay, before an MBA, you are completely open to where you want to work, what you want to do. And the first 3 to 5 years after your MBA, you first decide on the industry, and then you decide on your specialization, your special skill. What is that one special skill that you are better than everybody else at? Right? You decide on that aspect. What is your special skill and what is your industry? So once these get identified, and you start spending and you start achieving things in a 3, 5, 7 year framework, especially if you're working in multinationals, etc. A lot of these multinationals have postings abroad. So what they will do is they will give you options. They will have opportunities outside India which will take you there. Or if you are in an active lookout for a work abroad situation, and you coordinate with with placement agencies and placement websites. You coordinate with them and you go through them, so you will automatically find a lot of work abroad situations will keep coming to you. So these work abroad situations you can obviously activate, and the best part of it is you're paid in rupees. An Indian MBA today from a top B school India was a top B school abroad, you will see that people get the same outcomes. At the same time, अगर तुमको हार्वर्ड स्टैनफोर्ड और केलॉग्स एंड नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न टाइप के कॉलेजेस मिल जाते हैं, या फिर यू कैन गेट टू एन HEC पैरिस etc. So again the question becomes, if you are going to a top B school or outside, top B school outside versus a middle B school in India. So then top B school outside versus a middle school in India, then your decision should always be this. Don't worry about the money. The money will come and you will be able to pay it back. You'll be able to pay it back because, I mean, if you look at one of the top B schools, of course, you should be in the geographical location there. People will not hire you for an online work from home situation just because you're from Harvard or Stanford and you're based in India, and they'll not give you $1 lakh for that. So you have to be in that situation. So just project 2 years into the future and identify and understand that. That's why I told you that 2021 or 2022 also might not be the best year to take a decision of MBA abroad, because if you're going to if that MBA is going to happen from home, and first of all you're not getting the value add, and second of all if you're not getting the value add, then and second of all, when you talk about placements, if you're stuck in India and you're trying to look for placements abroad, so then you might not get it, and you will be in the unfortunate boat of having paid in dollars for your MBA and having to recover in rupees, which will be very difficult to do, right? Because dollars में अगर तुम salary देखो, $1 lakh per annum is normal salary out of out of a USB school, right? From of a top USB school that converts to 75 lakhs per annum. So at that rate, paying 1.5 crores back as a loan which you took is very easy, right? But in India, if you're going to do an Indian job at 20 lakhs per annum, half the money you will be able. I mean, in this case, you'll be able to pay back in 3 years. In this case, you might just be able to pay back 10 lakhs a year. So it'll take you 12 to 15 years to pay back your education loan. So that is one thing that you should calculate, and you should be careful of, or aware of at least, when you're taking that decision, right? So the critical decision for you should, I mean, and then there's the other factor is that the absolute top B schools outside will not give you or will not take you without a minimum of 2-3 years of work ex. So first thing is, if you're going to go abroad for an MBA, it has to be a top B school, and the absolute top B school will not take you without 2 to 3 work ex. So if you are a passing out student in 21, the earliest you should plan an MBA abroad is 24 or 25, not before that. This is the earliest you should plan an MBA abroad, not before that. Because if you're planning before that, you're going to a below par college, right? So these are some of the considerations that you need to remember. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, I also have got the Europe schools for you. Before that, just wanted to give you this update also. The IPMAT BBA Hotel Management course is also available on Unacademy now, and comprehensive 1-year batch for IPMAT 2022 and IPMAT BBA and HM bumper offer, 12 months, buy 12 months and get 2 months subscription free. buy 24 months and get 3 months subscription free, and this is valid. I mean, of course, this is slightly outdated, valid only till 10 June, and but I think it will work. It might still work. And BBA NHM subscription, you can use the code, my promo code, to get access to this also. Right. So again, one more consideration that you when you go abroad for an MBA is, are you going to go for a 1 year MBA or a 2 year MBA? So typically US universities have 2 year MBAs, but Europe is mostly 1 year MBA, and this is the pecking order of the top five in US in Europe. Uh, HEC Paris, INSEAD, London Business School, uh, IE Business School, and IASC Business. These are in Spain, which are global ranks. Global rank is 9th and 11th. HEC Paris is the number one B school in France, in Europe. So most of the B schools in Europe will have 1 year MBAs. So are you open to a 1 year MBA, or you are going for a, or you want to do a 2 year MBA? That's another decision you will have to take, and based on that you will have to take the country decision. So just say India is mostly a 2 year MBA country. US is also a 2 year MBA country, and there are certain advantages and disadvantages of the 2 year MBA versus the 1 year MBA. The 2 year MBA has an advantage that it's slightly opened out course, so the value add that you get is better. You get more relationships, you get more into lifelong connections with your batchmates, etc. So those are very important things that will help you in a 2 year MBA. 1 year MBA, what happens is, actually it's not even 1 year. They started and end in 10 months. So it's very collapsed. And typically you go for a 1 year MBA if you have already had somewhere around 5 to 7 years of work experience. So if you are below that, then you should not look at a 1 year MBA. You should look at a 2 year MBA basically. So anyway, GMAT is the exam you need to take, of course. And GMAT essentially has two sections. One is verbal. So verbal mein they ask you questions on reading comprehension, sentence correction, and critical reasoning mostly. This is what verbal is dominated by. And then you got quants, and quants mein quants of GMAT is similar to CAT. People think that quants of GMAT is easier. I have seen a lot of people telling me that मेरे को MBA बाहर से कर लेना है क्योंकि CAT clear करना बहुत मुश्किल है. Asian Institute of Management Manila is one of the top in Southeast Asia. Along with IIM Ahmedabad, it's almost on par in global rankings. So AIM Manila is also very good. थोड़ा सा easy हो जाता है competition to get to these colleges, because of course 20%, 16 to 20, 20%, 16-17% of the global population is in India. So when you talk about competition for colleges inside India, the competition is very tedious, very tight. But if you talk about competition for colleges outside, it's slightly easier to get in, as far as you can get a good GMAT score, because the applications get distributed, and the number of applications that IIM per seat and IIM gets is amongst the highest ratios in the world. Right, so that way is slightly easier, but don't think about this QA easy ho jayega GMAT mein. Those are childish ways of thinking. Get the right perspective why you want to do an MBA from abroad, and that's where, as I said, at this time it's a risk, because you don't know how the world is going to be in 2024. The kind of changes that coronavirus has brought in 2024, 2025. So you want to be risk averse at this point. So unless you are able to crack a top Ivy League B school in US, or one of the top 10 in Europe, or one of the top 10 in the other regions, top 5 in the other regions, you will not take that call. ठीक है, चलो. So that's it from my side. I hope I was able to answer this question and do justice to this question, and I'll be back live soon on the CAT-alyst channel also. There's 6-month offer. 6 months, if you take a 6-month subscription, you'll get a subscription till CAT. And these are the batches coming up: 9 June, 16 June, and 12 June and 16 June. These are the batches which are coming up on Unacademy Plus, and Unacademy Iconic is also available. You get a personal mentor, test analysis and reports, personal mentors from top B schools, and this is the promo code you'll use, Sharma Cat Life, in case you want to use this to join Unacademy. Thank you so much. I'll take a leave and I'll be back soon on this channel.